This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
(6:15). This is Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. An island-wide program to provide care for COVID-infected persons at their homes. Doctors predict that kidney patients have become victims of COVID infections. Several renewable power generating projects will be implemented. The government says that the provincial transport facilities have been provided only for essential services. And in news overseas, more than 1 million residents told to seek shelter in Japan. Those are the headlines, and now more to the details of the local news. The Ministry of Health says that an island-wide program will be implemented to provide care for COVID-infected persons in their homes under medical supervision. This program was initiated in the Western Province recently. The Ministry of Health said that Ratnapura district program commenced today. The program was initiated due to the high increase of COVID-19 virus cases and the lack of hospital capacity for the treatment of service. The ministry has taken measures to initiate this program under the supervision of 1,000 doctors. 426 internship doctors have also been trained for this task. The Association of Specialist Doctors of Kidney Disease says that most number of the kidney patients have become victims of coronavirus infections. Chairman of the association, Specialist Dr. Andro Heva Giganage, said that if they get infected with the disease, their level of complication also increased when compared with the other infected persons. Therefore, it is compulsory for all kidney patients to take both doses of the vaccines. The government says that several renewable power energy generating projects have been implemented. The government is planning to obtain 70% of the power requirement from the renewable power generation. Accordingly, renewable power plants have been set up in Mannar, Siabalanduwa and Punarin areas. State Minister Duminda Disanaka said that 800 megawatts of electricity could be added to the national grid. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Get a personal loan for your marriage, education or housing within 24 hours with People's Bank Digital Banking.
And we continue with more local news. Minister Dilum Amanagama says that the interprovincial transport facilities have been provided only for essential services. The bus and rail services are operating within the provinces. He said that the number of bus and trains will be increased according to the passenger needs. The religious articles of the Sandhira Stupa are scheduled to arrive in Kurnagala today. The motorcade carrying the crest gem and the sacred pinnacle commenced its passage from the Tholangamu Rajamahaviharaya amidst religious blessings this morning. The procession will arrive at the Gattuana Sri Mahinda Pirivena in Kurnagala, passing Ambepusa, Alawa, Dampalasa and Narambala. The crest gem and the sacred pinnacle will be placed at the Gattuana Sri Mahinda Pirivena for public veneration this evening. Carrying out rapid antigen tests and PCR tests have commenced at the Katunayake International Airport for Sri Lanka's leaving for employment to the United Arab Emirates. Accordingly, individuals have been requested to arrive at the BIA 4 hours prior to the time of departure. The Civil Aviation Authority said that the measures were taken after the UAE has announced that all individuals arriving in the country must have a report confirming that they have tested negative for COVID-19. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. An island-wide program to provide care for infected persons at their homes. Doctors predict that kidney patients have become victims of COVID infections. Several renewable power energy generating projects will be implemented. The government says interprovincial transport facilities have been provided only for essential services. And that was the local news.
Get a personal loan for your marriage, education or housing within 24 hours with People's Bank Digital Banking. People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
news story for this evening, State Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara says that the tax on imported sprats or dried fish has not been increased. He said that the tax has not been increased from yesterday by a gazette. He further said that the gazette has extended the taxes imposed 6 months ago according to the regulations. State Minister Vijayasekara said that it has been decided to continue with the taxes to protect the local products. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And we move on to Watch Light. Deputy Health Services Director General of Health Ministry, Specialist Dr. Hemant Herat said that there is a risk of fast spreading of coronavirus among communities. The number of patients with symptoms are increasing and the patients to be treated has also increased. He has also pointed out that most of the persons who died from the virus have not taken the vaccines. With that, we move on to the headlines of the world news. More than 1 million residents told to seek shelter in Japan. Afghan president says he's in urgent talks as Taliban take key town in Kabul. Venezuelan government and opposition launch talks in Mexico. Those were the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the world news. More than 1 million people have been told to evacuate their homes amid heavy rainfalls in parts of Japan. Highest level of rain warnings have been issued in a number of prefectures, including Fukuoka and Hiroshima. One woman is dead and her husband and daughter are missing after a landslide destroyed their homes in Nagasaki Prefecture amid bad weather. More than 150 troops, police and firefighters have been sent to help with the rescue operations in the area. They are carefully searching for the missing residents while watching out for further mudslides as heavy rain continues, the report said. Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani said that he was in urgent talks with local leaders and international partners as Taliban rebels push across Kabul, capturing a key town in the south of the capital that is one of the most gateways to the city. As your president, my focus is on preventing further instability, violence and displacement of my people, Ghani said in a brief televised address as the United States and the other countries rushed its troops to help evacuate their embassies. Ghani has given no sign of responding to Taliban demand that he resign for any talks on a ceasefire and a political settlement. The Venezuelan government and the opposition members are starting talks in Mexico City to seek elusive consensus as to how to overcome the economic and social crises grappling the country, according to the AFP news agency. Representatives of both sides signed an agreement yesterday in Mexico City, officially inaugurating the start of the dialogue mediated by Norway and hosted by the Mexican government. The government of President Nicolas Maduro is pressing for the lifting of sanctions imposed by the United States and Europe against Venezuelan officials and institutions' democracy. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. More than 1 million residents told to seek shelter in Japan. Afghan president says he's in urgent talks as Taliban take key towns in Kabul. Venezuelan government and opposition launched talks in Mexico. And that was the world news.
Development News is brought to you by Quality Matters Than Price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melba RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melba RB500, #1 in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Win lakhs and lakhs with CIB Janajaya. 40% discount for your bills till 15th of August. 6 hand tractors at the Grand Row. CIB Janajaya.
And in development news, construction work of the Pahalamalwatuoya Reservoir will be expedited. This is the largest reservoir being constructed in the Rajarate area, utilizing local engineering technology. The objective of this move is to develop paddy harvest, power and energy generation, and provide irrigational water. The estimated cost for this project is 22 billion rupees. And that came to you in the segment of development news.
Development News was brought to you by
Quality Matters Than Price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melba RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melba RB500, #1 in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Win lakhs and lakhs with CIB Janajaya. 40% discount for your bills till 15th of August. 6 hand tractors at the Grand Row. CIB Janajaya.
Moving on to sports news, the Grays team has won the match of the Dialogue SLC Invitational T20 tournament played today. The match was played between the Grays and the Reds teams. Batting first, the Grays team scored 154 runs for the loss of 80 wickets at the end of the allotted 20 overs. The Reds team was able to score only 119 runs for the loss of 9 wickets at the end of the 20th overs. All matches of the tournament will be played at the Pallekele International Stadium. The matches between the Blues and the Greens is scheduled to be held at 7 p.m. tonight. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Savings account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
In business news, Sanasa Life Insurance Company has received 2 international awards. The World Economic Magazine is present in these awards after an independent study conducted annually. The company has paid the loan installments of more than 25,000 life insurance policyholders who could not pay their insurance premium due to COVID pandemic. The timely assistance of the company was appreciated by the social and economic enterprises. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Savings account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
And in economic news, treasury bills worth over 53 million rupees will be issued. The central bank says that the auction will be held on Wednesday. These bills will be issued with the expiry date of 91, 182 and 364 days. That was economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And finally, the weather report. The Met Department says that several spells of showers will occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and the Gaul and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the northern, eastern and Uva provinces after 2 p.m. And that was the weather report.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. An island-wide program to provide care for COVID-infected persons at their homes. The doctors predict that the kidney patients have become victims of COVID infections. Several renewable power generating projects will be implemented. The government says interprovincial transport facilities have been provided only for essential services. And in news overseas, more than 1 million residents told to seek shelter in Japan. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news.